Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. Um, Apologize for the delay today. I didn't get any market commentary out that I wanted to in terms of pre-market analysis for the weekend. I had quite a busy weekend going, and today was just insane. And I actually had some major computer issues that I had to deal with, so I had to get in, and that was pretty much at my end of the day today. So I unfortunately didn't get a lot of chart time to run through everything. So I apologize if you're waiting on me for some analysis for the week. But at the end of the day, it is non-farm numbers coming out on Friday, so I'm just going to whip up a real quick news news event calendar here, and I've had to load some new software on my system, and I've noticed it's kind of causing some delays with some of the websites loading. So if you guys see any delays or any buffering or anything like that, can you just please let me know? Just put it into the chat. If you're a F45 member, just throw it into our Telegram chat, and if you're not, just put it up in the YouTube chat I've got on my left hand side. So if you have any buffering issues or any delays or anything like that, if you could please do me a favor and just let me know going forward throughout this presentation, and then I can try to adjust the internet screening software that I've got. So anyway, looking out for the week ahead, and to be honest with you, this is the first time I've had a chance to even look at the numbers for the week. I didn't even get a chance to look at Mondays. Again, it was kind of one of those weekends. It's the summer, and I was doing a lot of family stuff over the weekend, and my mind wasn't really into the charts. I did a little bit of analysis on Friday evening. I was able to sit down and run through a bunch of numbers, so I'm going to kind of show you my thoughts on a couple of markets, mainly copper and crude oil. And as for that, we've got the yen, which I'm going to have a look at here today, just for a few minutes to show you where the Bank of Japan outlook and monetary policy statement came in. There's probably going to be some good movement on that. There is some euro news coming up, which we'll definitely be looking at the euro today. I think there's a pretty good move coming up. And Canadian dollar, there's some GDP news for the Canadian dollar, and of course the US dollar, some medium impact news. So we should see some pretty good movement here today. I believe today and Wednesday will probably be pretty good days. Now Wednesday, just keep in mind, Wednesday pre-ADP non-farm numbers, and then there's ISM, manufacturing, crude oils, FOMC statements, etc., etc. Wednesday could be a pretty volatile day, but we could see some pretty good movement on Wednesday. So I wouldn't mind seeing sort of what's in store. I don't know that I'd have a position on right before this news. I may elect to have something a little bit later on, and only because there is these late in the day fund rates and FOMC statements, so we could see extended market activity throughout the end of the New York session and beyond. But I don't know that I would necessarily have a position open during these two events right here. But we'll just see sort of what the market gives us when we come to Wednesday. But I'll update you again on that one. And Dave is back. He's back from his vacation. So as far as I said that last week, I apologize. He actually took last week off as well too. Can't blame him. It's kind of been a busy season so far. We've had lots on the go, so he took a little bit of downtime there. So he'll be back on Wednesday to trade New York Open, and he'll be starting at 9:30 a.m. New York time, just when the equity markets are getting opened, and a little bit later than this this non-farm employment change numbers coming out. Thursday we have a whole whack of pound sterling news. We have the inflation report, official bank rate, votes, monetary policy. So it's going to be a very volatile day on the pound, the pound dollars. So I don't necessarily think that would be a very. I mean, just depends on what the levels are going to be hit. I'll probably do some market analysis for this, and I'll jump on and do a live session probably during this. If not, it might be a little bit later, and I'll throw out some levels for that to watch for. I might even actually throw some levels out to watch for do a London Open session around this time on Thursday, and then you guys can watch these, because I don't know that I'll be around at 7 a.m. New York time to watch this live, but we'll see what happens. And then Friday, of course, all the magic happens starting at 8:30 a.m. With the Canadian dollar, the U.S. average hourly earnings, non-farm, obviously, unemployment rate, and then the official ISM non-manufacturing PMIs. So busy week news-wise. There should be lots of volatility, lots of action, lots of movement, and it should be a pretty exciting week. But for the record, I probably will not be trading. It would have to be a very good setup for me to trade anywhere after this time frame on Wednesday. I would hope all my trading would be done pretty much today, and maybe if we're trying to get a little bit of extra movement out, we might run something through London Open, but we'll see how that goes. And then I probably won't be trading anything Thursday, especially not the pound dollar. I won't be trading or any pound related pairs, and then Friday I won't be trading at all. So anyway, that's the news for the week. So we got lots of news going on, definitely no shortage there. So let's just whip over here real quick to the charts and see where we're sitting. Yeah, I just got a note from one of my guys here, the Aussie. Yeah, I picked up a great trade on the Aussie as well. I can show you that here in a few minutes when I get to Aussie. Anyway, so we're looking at the US dollar here, obviously. Continued consolidation. We still have not managed to get any higher or really get any lower. We did sell off on Monday, and so far Tuesday, price ran up and has so far failed to get any higher. Now, if price pushes below here, I'll be looking for it to rebalance off of these lows. And I'll just move this down here. These lows right down here, there's some thinly traded price in this area right in here that I'd be interested to see if they want to bring price down to. But if price breaks the low, this candle's low here, I'm pretty interested in this thing dropping down and eventually getting lower than these guys in here and ultimately retesting these three equal lows in this area. Anyways, sorry, I just had something funny pop up on the chat here. Anyways, so that's kind of my thoughts on the thoughts on the US dollar. If we lose this low here, I'll be looking for lower prices. But so far, again, we're right in the middle of summer trading months. We do see bearish activity on the pound dollar. Yeah, so if we lose this here, like I said, I'd be looking for the lows to get run under here. There's a ton of liquidity sitting here, and I'll be looking for price to rebalance in this range here. So this range right in there. I'll just throw a price tag up on that. Again, if we lose this low rate here, which comes in at 93, I'll call it about 93.40. If we lose 93.40, then I'll be looking at price to come down and start to sweep these lows under here. So far, we're not there, but we do see a bullish seasonality for the US dollar right around now, and price should be falling off. However, with all the stuff going on with the trade wars and tariffs talks and everything else, and now Trump basically doing an exact 180 on all of his threats to the euro, the eurozone, which now seems like they're inking a deal out, and then to China, which now seems that they're starting to come to some commonality on it, and with Mexico. Now they're talking about reinstating a form of NAFTA with them. You know, it's who knows what they're going to do. I mean, the Fed is technically independent. of the U.S. government, and it is a private entity and that dictate monetary policy. So really, they shouldn't be affected as drastically of what the political bias is or whoever's sitting in office. However, we all know that's not necessarily the case. And so anyway, long story short, they could be propping the dollar up artificially, and we may not see a bearishness to the dollar. We could just see the dollar sit here and chop sideways. And I've discussed this before. This is nothing new. So to be honest with you, I'm not expecting non-farm to do a whole ton. We may get a run down under here. We may get a retest of these old highs. I mean, it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Like, we are right in the middle. I mean, if you look at from these lows up to that high, I mean, we're just about right in the middle of the range right now. We've kind of lost things just as of Monday, but just still chopping sideways. It's, you know, par for the course here from what we've been experiencing since the end of May. So not much to talk about here. I am looking for lower prices, and I'm just going to drop down to an hourly and kind of show you sort of what my thoughts are a little bit more. So Friday we ran up, and we had, I was talking about this level right here last, this was last Tuesday's trading. So I'll just make a note right here. So this was Tuesday. And we don't need it to 28 font. So this was Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't really need to do this right now, but I just kind of want to prove a point to you that I was looking at, because I called this last week, and I said that I wasn't too happy with the level that it hit. So if you bear with me for 1 second. This was obviously Friday. And then now we're into the new week, Monday, Tuesday. But I said as price was diving down here, this was Friday 2 weeks ago, price was diving down here, and I said I want to look for price to retrace back up and trade off of these levels right here. We got a high of the week last week right here. And I said I wasn't very happy with where price came up to. I wanted to see it actually come in and hit these lows. So whether it was this low here or these lows in here, wherever it may be, I wanted to see a further continuation of that, and to come up and sweep up in there and basically come above here, because I wasn't quite convinced that this was going to be the high, and that they may want to test it again. And sure enough, what did they do? They reversed price on Thursday, came out and actually took the high out from Tuesday. So once it finally satisfied that range, that was kind of, you know, key. You know, they're going to start sinking prices. And sure enough, they started right out of the gate yesterday, and they sunk prices nicely. And they've come up here now, and actually while I was talking here, and have traded back off of these lows in this tiny consolidation area right in here. If I can grab this. You know what? I don't like it when it does that. I'll just grab this low right here, and we'll call it good. So traded back up to the small consolidation range, and you can see the aggressive sell-off. They wicked it up once, twice, third time came in, ran it deep, and tagged off of these lows here, and now it's running for the hills. So here's the thing. In my opinion, if we can get down, I'll borrow this level here, and we can break through this level right in here, I think we've got a real good shot of challenging this low here, and then eventually running down to the 93.40 level for the week. So if that happens, now they could just do a real quick bounce and retest and trade up higher and come in. There's a small range in here where they may want to come up and grab. They kind of traded back up to the levels in here. They actually got it pretty well here. So they may not, this range could be satisfied here. So we may not see a return back this high. But, you know, again, this is just right, anything could happen during non-farm. I'm not going to rule anything out. I don't suggest that this is going to happen. I think what we're actually going to do is I think we're going to have a continuation, and we should push this thing lower. That's what I'm looking for. So, but I definitely think the run-up for the London Open has occurred. These are probably going to be the high here, and we're going to start jamming things down here. Now, whether or not, no, here's the thing, like, we're talking weekly profiles. So I'll just, you know, let me just do this here. So I'll just show you something here that I'm thinking of. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we've got Friday. Okay, So this weekly profile, you can see here, we ran up. Tuesday created the interim high, sunk it down just to grab all of the levels underneath Monday's lows, only to run it back up and take out the highs from Tuesday. So really, yesterday was a consolidation week. Well, more like a stop hunting week is really what it was. They took the highs and they took the lows, and then they kind of finished off somewhere, not necessarily the middle, kind of on the upper end of where the weekly range was. So that was the weekly profile. Now this week's profile, again, we could get anything, but so far, I assume Monday is right here, so far we've started out doing this on Monday. Okay, we've had a brief retracement back up right into here, and now what I'm predicting is Tuesday is going to do this, and this is where we'll shoot for these lows down here. Now I'm hoping if we take these lows out, we should see a continuation into Wednesday, and then potentially we could get down and down to the low here, maybe into Thursday. Again, I don't know if we're going to get that low. Tuesday could create the low. We could come down here and then just say, no, to hell with it. It's going to do an about face and basically do something like this, and it'll happen pretty much right around New York Open. Where it'll set the low, and then it'll do this, and then it'll just start ripping up, and it'll take out these highs from Monday, and potentially challenging the Friday highs. It may even do that into Thursday, and then obviously non-farm and everything else are going to come out. So maybe they'll do a retrace and then maybe a trade higher. I don't know. Again, this is just, after this week here, we had a bit of a consolidation week. I'm not hoping for this up here. This is not what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for this right here. Basically just a continuation in through to Wednesday. Maybe a whoops, come on. Maybe just a real brief retrace into Thursday, and then hopefully a continuation into Friday, and then we see, lower numbers on Friday. So that's kind of what I'm hoping the weekly profile will be, something typical to this. But we won't know, obviously, how that pans out. But I do know if this low here gets broken, if this low, my eyes are right here, if this low gets broken, then I believe that, and where is that low? So 93, 93.90, call it. If that 93.90 level gets broken, then I believe we will see this 93.40 on the week, potentially getting tagged. At the very worst case scenario, these lows in here, so 93.80, they'll definitely come down and touch to, but that's quite a ways away from now. So we can see a lot of movement on foreign currency pairs, on the cross pairs with the dollar, with that movement. So anyways, that's my thoughts on the dollar. So let's just say, for instance, we do get this, and let's say we have price continue to run down. Going into Tuesday, Wednesday, then the euro, which actually has a lot of news again. So today, euro news. Yes, today, starting at midnight New York time. Starting at 2 a.m. New York time. So here in about an hour, we should see the euro run pretty good. Now I'm just going to start out on a daily. We're going to run this thing out, and we're going to have a look. Same type of thing as the US dollar. Been consolidating for quite some time now. But here's the thing, and I talked about this a little bit last week and the week before. Price was, hang on, let me just get rid of some of this down here so you can see it a little bit better. Price was failing to take out these lows. So the US dollar, as the euro was slamming down here, the US dollar was making new highs, okay? And as the euro came back and slammed down into this low here, the US dollar was taking the highs out. But right here, this guy right here, this one, this was a failure swing right here. I'm going to turn this color so you can see, and I'll just highlight big red so you can see that, okay? This was a failure swing. So the US dollar, it made a new high. It made a new high over here, where the Euro USD failed to make that high. And then price came up, it consolidated, same thing on the US dollar. came down, consolidated, screwed around, made another new low here, and then it popped its head up again just last week or the week before. It made another new high. Euro USD failed to make that lower low. So again, strength, I believe, is in the Euro USD, and I think we could see higher prices. And they're very, very close to running these highs in here, whereas the US dollar, it is quite a ways away here from running these internal lows. So I think we could see a pop-up very, very easily in this. I'm calling 118.90 to 119.10. You know, split the difference at 11900. That's my long-term objective on Euro USD, but we got to break out of this range in order to get it. Will this week be the week that finally pops us out of that range? Probably not. I don't want to get your hopes up or anything like that. But, you know, I mean, to be honest with you, we've been consolidating for the past couple of months. We're right in the dead of summer right now. And, you know, chances are we'll probably see continued consolidation. I was really hoping that we would have seen price. So this was Monday's candle here. I was hoping we'd see price kind of retrace back a little bit on today's candle, but price didn't really give us that very much today. A couple of down candles in here. One small little area in here that I really would have liked them to come back down to tag off of, and that's basically this 116.95 level. If we could have saw a run back down to that, I'd probably be inclined to be buying that. But as it is, price is starting to run away right now. So if we come down, and I'm just going to run down to a 15-minute just because, but if we come back down and maybe retest these levels in here, or just slightly higher, maybe even right up in here, I might be inclined to take a buy. Pretty much any down candle from here, I'd be inclined to potentially have a look at a long position. And now what I'm hoping doesn't happen is that we create the high in London Open. And again, this would obviously negate anything in here. If we create a high in London Open, then on the euro, then this whole idea of the US dollar trading down is going to be null. But if we do continue to push upwards, these highs right in here and ultimately that high are going to be the target. And then, like I was saying to you, this level in here, I think ultimately is the ultimate goal where I'd like to see price go if we do see that US dollar weakness. But again, anything could happen. They're manipulating everything, so we may not get that. So that's the Euro USD. Nice tight consolidation throughout the Asian range here. So I'm expecting a pretty big run up on the euro here today. I'm not pretty big. I mean, what's an average ATR, ADR, average daily range for the euro? It's only about 80 pips or something, I think, on the euro. I don't have the indicator loaded on this chart. I've got it on another platform, but it's usually about 80 pips on the day for the ADR on euro. But like these levels above price here are currently 170, 180 pips above, so that's a good full push up. But again, whether or not non-farms on Friday will give us that, or the run up ahead of that, that remains to be seen yet. So real quickly, pound dollar, not looking for a whole lot on this. We are seeing some nice bullish movements right off of these lows in here. Nice bull trend. I'm looking at price to come and run up here at 37.75 as a potential target. Sorry, 31.75, and that's about 40 pips from now. I believe price should easily reach that here today. And again, same type of thing as the euro. If I see price come back down and trade into this range in here, I'd be interested in picking up a long. And I don't want to see price go any lower really than 131.25. We'll just make that an even number. So if price comes back down, trades back down to that, I don't want to see price really go any lower than this consolidation in here. I would say the ultimate lowest would be 131. That's literally a 5-pip stop. I don't think we could get away with that. But maybe for some spread and everything else, you could use maybe a 15-pip stop, 131.10. If price comes all the way back down there, not interested. Nice tight stop, so you can limit any risk to the downside. But I'd be looking at picking up some buys down here if I did see price come back down to there. And long term, again, I'm not looking for much on the pound dollar. I think the trade is in the euro. I'd be looking for about 40 pips or so. I'm sorry, just a little under, or a little over 50 pips, I guess that would be. You could call it 131.75, I guess, even. So call it an even 50 pips on that trade. That would be a nice haul on the pound dollar for non-farm week, and I would take that, be happy, move to the sidelines, and not trade for the rest of the week if I could get that. So that's kind of what I'm looking there. Nothing on Euro GBP. It's making a nice strong push. Rebounded, just fell short of that area that I was looking. I was really hoping we would have come down to the 88.60 level. Didn't quite do it. It's expanded off nicely. Looking for continuation on this, and if we see continuation higher on Euro GBP, we should really see that movement higher on Euro USD. So that's again why I'm kind of thinking that we're going to see a pretty good move today on that. These highs, it should be pretty obvious that they're going to get taken out. And then maybe even these highs in here if we see a good runner. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Well, it's only 40 pips. It definitely could happen. So I'm going to set my targets up around here if we can get that. Again, that 50 pip sort of range. If we can get that, then I believe we'll be in business. And that's just these highs right up in here. So that's where I'm looking for price to stretch up into. And I'll put a price tag on that so we kind of know. So 117.60, I think. If I could pick that up today and get in and get out before London close at about 11:30, 10:30 a.m. I'd say even 11:30. It's going to be some extended price run into Tuesday, as I showed you on that news event there, so we might even be able to get in there a little later than London close, but I'd be looking for an entry somewhere in and around here at 117.10 if we can get a retrace back down to that level. And in terms of stops, so again, I don't want to see it go lower than this level here. If it does poke its head down, the absolute lowest I would want this thing to go down to would be I would say, you know, right here. And this is about a 30, just under a 30 pip stop, 25 pip stop, right there. Yeah. So I wouldn't want to see price have to trade all the way back down here. If it's going to come all the way back to 1685, then it's probably going to want to retest these highs in here. And we've already done that. You see how price has expanded up out of here and retested these highs back down here once. That's already done that, so we don't need to do that again. And then we expanded up nicely in here. Again, there may be a tiny little area in here that price may want to come down to, but I highly doubt it. I think it's done it. It's fulfilled the range. It's traded up into here, back down, consolidated, and expanded up nicely. Came back, retested the highs again, and expanded up one more time. And I think we've set the lows on the day in here. So if we see anything come back down here again and take out this low, they're going to be wanting to see price lower. So conservatively, I would say 116.85 would be the absolute maximum. But to be honest with you, if price wanted to run lower than these areas back in here, I would permit 116.95 at the very lowest, and I think I'd be out. So again, pretty tight stop on it, same as the pound dollar, but that's sort of what I'd be looking at the euro if we do get some retracement off of the new the push out that it's done in here. So that's those three. UJ, did we see any movement? So there was some pretty serious news on UJ today. I'm just wondering if we saw any movement really. Not a ton, a bit of a doji today. You can see here, I'm just going to get rid of some of these. There we go. So you can see in here, there's obviously stops all above here, and that's really all I was highlighting. Price just failed to get above those highs in there. So again, if we do see further weakness in the US dollar, we should see this move higher and these highs getting taken out, and ultimately these stops above the market above here. could get a nice runner. We're really coming back down. We're really testing these lows in here, and so far price has not shown any willingness to go lower than this consolidation range right in here. So I like that. It's showing signs of strength, and I think there could be an opportunity in there. If it wasn't non-farm, I'd be a little bit more interested in maybe seeing something materialize out of this, but for the longer term. But I definitely don't want to be holding anything into Friday this week, and even into Thursday. That's the only thing that would really negate me from getting into this. I mean, pretty crazy price fluctuation on those monetary policy numbers, and let me just get a accurate price. Fluctuated about 70 pips just from that news. Cleaned out the stops below the market, cleaned out the stops above the market, and now it's just kind of sitting here right in the exact middle of that range. Look at that. Look at this range. Let's call it all intents and purposes right there. Look where it is. Right at the middle of that price fluctuation. So where's it going to go? I personally think it's going to go up. Price sold off from last week quite nicely, and came back down, and it's retesting these consolidation areas in here very, very nicely. Great price action, expansion, retracement, and potential for another long entry. So I'm not a big yen trader again. I would wait. I don't think I'd be trading yen today. I would probably wait into Wednesday and maybe see if there's some movement we can get. Maybe if they want to start looking at expanding higher out of this range and then just coming back and retesting off that range, I might look at getting into something. And I'd probably pick very, very easy targets. So again, like these lows in here would probably be a very easy target on the upside to pick up as just a, just a real quick. So 112 big figure off of current levels. That'd be a nice 100 pips from now if we could get a trade up into there. So, but I don't know that I'd necessarily be looking at doing that today, because today is obviously, it's very, very clearly clean out day, where they're just cleaning out positions above and below the market. They're picking up orders, and they're probably going to run this thing. And my money is honestly to the upside. If price breaks, like price should not need to go back down here. See this? This was a stop run here. This was a stop run. It's a retrade off of this small consolidation level in here. Price is fairly sensitive at that area, so I think we're probably going to start trading higher, just because they had no willingness to go down and continue lower from there. And again, we fulfill the range back down in here that I'd identified before, and so I think there's a very strong case for this thing to head to the upside. But with that being said, right, if these lows start getting challenged again, so if price keeps breaking down here and these lows start getting challenged again, then I would definitely hold off on that idea. And price may want to retrade lower, and it could want to reach for this low here. But we'll see how that goes. So that's yen. Nothing on CAD really that I want to discuss this week anyway. We just had a big stop run. Look at that. Look at that big stop run. Not sure why the Canadian dollar is seeing so much volatility in comparison to the US dollar. These things run pretty tight in tandem. And that was a pretty big 60, 70 pips run above the market right there. I kind of like that, actually. Look at what they did there. Look at that fluctuation. And then price tried to rally again. Sold right off. Now we're coming in weaker. You definitely see the market structure breaking down here. Market hit its highs, and that's when the US dollar was creating its high. It just took the high by a couple of pips. Price ran softer, came back up, retested those old highs, failure swing, and came back down. I was hoping we'd get a retrade on last week, back up to this 132.30 level. We didn't get it. Price really fell short, and that's kind of what made me hesitant on the US CAD, on the loonie. I was, because you see how price, same type of idea as the US dollar, where, right, we came up and we made this kind of short little interim high right here that just didn't really fit the profile on what I was looking at. it kind of retagged off of these lows here, but I was looking at price to get fulfilled up to this area in here, and that's what the US dollar did, right? Same was that Tuesday last week, that was, and then the US dollar came back down, took out the lows, and then springboarded off of that and took out those highs. Did not see that on the US CAD, right? We just saw a complete sell-off, and then that was Tuesday, Wednesday. This was the Wednesday sell-off. Thursday, consolidation. Friday, tight trading consolidation. Monday, they dipped it down, sank it, and came right back up. Look at that. They took the lows out, ran the lows by 30 pips, just ran the stops above the market by 20 pips, and now they're trading softer. So I find that quite interesting. I think I'm going to hold off on any ideas I have on the CAD. I think it is probably going to trade lower in term. It is definitely showing signs of weakness, and I like this as a stop run here. I really do. But again, I think there's just this area up here that I just really believe they didn't come up and do anything with it, and they kind of left that open. So whether or not, you know, they're going to leave this for much, much later is another thing, and they could just sink this thing and you know, all the way back down and just start cleaning up every level under here on its way. Perfect equal lows right down here. I've been talking about these ones for a while on CAD. So they may want to be looking for, not really equal lows, but a nice area to put some stops, I'll tell you that. That line does not look straight in comparison to that line, does it? That's better. So yeah, sorry, right here. I love it when MT4 doesn't give me these levels. Come on, there we go. Those lows right there. So anyway, that's US CAD. We could see sell-off. You know what? I mean, if you're in here and you're watching this, take a demo trade. Sell this thing. Sell a short on it. Again, you can keep your tight stop very tight. You know, let's say you got short right at about that blue line at 130.60. Let's just say the price briefly traded back up to it. Like if price comes up and starts to run these highs again, you can pretty much kill that trade. So again, that's like call it a 20 pip stop. I mean, I'd keep it super tight. If price wanted to trade back up in there again, I would definitely not be trading that. Just keep a super tight stop and see what happens. And I wouldn't be shooting for a ton. I mean, I'd probably maybe look at these lows to be the target on the day, or even these lows here at 129.50. You know, that's about 100 pips away. You could see it. Or price could just sit here and trade sideways. That's the other option. Just sit here and go straight sideways and go absolutely nowhere and drive you crazy for the rest of the week. You know, so anyway, that's Canadian dollar. I'll revisit that one. I don't know. I've got my mind made up about euro and pound dollar, and actually euro's coming down to this right now, so I might have a look at this here. Equal lows, or sorry, just created equal highs here. Definitely creating conditions to run these later on and run higher, that's for sure. I want to see how low we get on this one before I look at that again. Crude oil. Man, this market. Look at this. Look at how they're moving price up here. Just really stressing this thing higher. And I mean, they're just fighting for every single penny right now, trying to move this market higher. I don't like how it's currently trading. I mean, yes, we got a nice bull trend line right there, and everyone could be saying to me, you're crazy, you should have bought right down here. I don't know. I'm not super convinced that they're going to run this thing and make new highs right now. There's a lot of stuff going on right now with crude oil, and I'm following a lot of experts right now with crude oil, and there's a lot of indecision in this market right now. And I could be missing a big trade here, but they're definitely propping price up, and there's definitely clear areas of support in here. But, you know, I'm going to wait until crude oil numbers come out tomorrow, I think. And obviously it's non-farm as well, so we could get an idea. It may fluctuate a little bit on that. I don't think drastically or anything, but it's interesting. There's a lot of numbers coming out. If you guys are a crude oil trader, there's a lot of information coming out saying that supply is starting to really get drained right now, and that these OPEC price cuts or I'm sorry, production cuts, production increases are not actually doing anything to curb the supply run that they're doing, and they're. I think this thing's definitely going to run higher, and I think we're coming up to here, but I just sort of want to see what price does when it gets there. I know there's, you know, potentially $2.30 of movement in that, you know, from where it currently is up to that, but now look at price coming down just beautifully right into this area right here. So far unwilling to go lower than these highs in here. I'm going to watch this one. I might send out a signal to our members on this. I want to watch price into London on this, though. If we get a move down lower, and price kind of starts to come into this area right in here and start to retrade and starts to wick down into this area, I'm going to be interested to see if they want to come and run these lows in this little consolidation area right here. If they did that, I'd see how far they drop down, and I'd probably put a long entry in here, and I would put my stop literally right under this thing right here, because if they came down all the way down here, then they're probably going to run these guys lower in here. Notice these equal lows in here. I've been talking about these for a while. I think they're leaving those, and they're setting guys. I think they're setting traders up right now is what I think is happening. Honestly, remember this that same weak ass return up on US CAD, this thing here. And look what happened. Same thing with crude oil. They came up, made a very, very poor attempt to try and get up into these highs here, and they sunk the market. And so far, they're just slowly retrading higher. And been banging off these lows in here. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're going to run out this high. I really do. But then once we get higher than that, I don't know. I don't have a lot of confidence that they're going to continue this thing higher. I just don't. I mean, look how if they wanted to. I mean, look at this. Look at what they're doing. Look at how they're just really consolidating and chopping price in here. Does that look like a real bullish move to you guys? To me, it doesn't. I mean, maybe if this price chart was opposite and it didn't just fall off of these highs here and price was coming up and it was doing something like this and just coming up from a low, you know what I mean? A bull run up and then consolidated this way, it'd be like an ascending triangle or a, you know, a bull flag play or something, and then just bam, we'd see a nice break to the upside. But like, I don't see that. I think they're just I personally think they're gathering short positions here. I could be totally wrong. Don't get me wrong, but I just, I don't know. This is suspect. They're gonna run this, I think. They might even do it today before crude numbers come out. Anyway, long story short on crude oil, I'm kind of neutral right now. So after all of that rambling, apologize. Let me get to the summary of the crude oil analysis here. I'm neutral on crude oil. I think you know, very, very short term, like this week, I think they're probably going to run price up to here, up to this 72.10 level. I think that's going to get tagged out. From there, I think longer term, like the next rest of the month, I think they're probably going to sink price down a little bit. But that will have to remain to be seen. We'll see what happens once they get up to here. And as I say, I'm looking at this right now. It was a nice sell-off into London. We're making some nice movements down. We're recapitalizing some areas down in here, but I'd like to see if they have any more strength to move this thing downwards. Just going to pull up my other chart here, move it to another screen just so I've got this. I want to look at Euro while its price is coming down into there to see if we get a return back down a little bit deeper. Keep my eye on that. Australian dollar managed to pick up a demo long, basically right here. And I got in, what was that price? Well, I can show you guys. I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just my demo account. I took it on a Friday. I typically don't take trades like this on Friday, but got in on Friday on this movement down. where are we here? On this movement down in here, as price came down here and bottomed out, I actually got long right as this candle was going up through here, and you can see what price did. Came down Monday, tested these old highs in here, and then exploded off of that. And so far, a nice run. If you guys got into this, I mentioned this last week. If you guys got in on this, you're up about 50 pips now. You can probably hold for this high here, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing. I'm a little bit more long-term. You can see where my area is in here, but just a short-term sort of weekly trade, you can kind of take a look at that area right there. And this is all hinged off of that the US dollar starts to fail at current levels. All right, so if we see this move, this big push down and take out these levels here, then that level, that 75.30 level on Aussie dollars should get tagged out, and that's about 100 pips away from now. So be a nice little trade. Anyways, that's that. Gold is consolidating. I was hoping for a bigger move on gold. Didn't really get much there this week. We put a trade out to all of our members early Monday to get in on this low here. So hopefully some of you guys got in on that. And I'm thinking price is just doing a great job of consolidating in here, and we should see expansion higher. Again, this whole movement higher is all based on the US dollar moving lower. That's really all it's based off of. So if we get a move higher in US dollar, then you can pretty much cancel that idea. Dave will talk about this more tomorrow when he comes in and does his live session. Okay, finally, it's kind of interesting. And none of the other currencies have seen that bullish activity. Find that kind of interesting. Anyway, just real quickly, I just want to talk about copper. Nice movement on copper. So price came down, slammed down into here. Here, let me clean this up here for you guys so you can see a little bit better. So price fell off here, took out some major lows from last year. Right into an area of support. So far, it's garnered some support at these levels, at this 269 level. Price consolidated, exploded back up, just failed to get above this high, retraded all the way back down in here, and so far showing some bullishness. So I want to watch what happens here. I wasn't in front of the charts today. I wish I was, because I probably would have already been long on this trade right here. Look at this beautiful run right into this consolidation support area right in here. Just perfect. And look at the reaction. It just exploded right off of that. So we'll see what happens here going into today. There's always going to be opportunities to get in. Like there's, you know, we're coming into some bullish activity for copper, and there's some equal highs up here where if we get a movement higher, they could be running for that. That would be a very long-term swing trade. This is not an intraday trade. This is not an intra-week trade. This is like a, you know, the rest of the year. This is going to take 2 quarters for this thing to pan out, but I think we could have seen the bottom down here. So. Pretty much saw confirmation of that down here on Monday, and we'll see if we can get a decent down candle. We'll see if price wants to run any lower than where it's at. Really, it was really doing that down in here and retesting these old lows under here and taking the stops under, and they should see price move higher. If price doesn't move any lower than here, so if we get price that trades down in here, so equity's open Tuesday morning here at 9:30 a.m. New York time. I'll be watching this, and if we see price come back down and try to retrade off of this level right here, and this level does not break, this 270, call it 277.9 level, if that price doesn't break and it wants to come down and retest that, then I would definitely be looking at getting in on some longs on a demo trade on that one. Again, this is all futures related stuff, and I am not a licensed commodity trader, so all of this information I'm giving you here and now, it's all hypothetical, my thoughts only, and are not constituted as trade advice You trade this market at your own risks, and there are serious risks involved in trading commodities, so you need to please be aware of that. It's not my job to make you aware of those risks. It is all up to you to find those out. And again, anything I show you in here and anything I talk about is all hypothetical in a demo account. So that is my disclaimer for the day. So that's copper. That's US dollar, Euro USD. Oh, we're getting a nice retrace down in here. So I'm going to be looking at this here. See if price has any interest in holding, seeing if this level has any interest in holding price off, or if it wants to dip lower into that. Pound dollar, you got your levels on there, and that was really about all that I was discussing. Look at this, we're starting to see some expansion now on the yen pair. I'm going to go down to a 5-minute and just see what it did. So it took the stops lower, and then it pushed higher, taking the stops and ran back down, retesting the middle of this range. And then now we're starting to trade a little bit stronger on it. They could push this thing up and retake those highs again. But I don't like trading these days. These days are not good days to trade, so monetary policy releases and everything, I wouldn't advise it. If you're a yen trader, hopefully you stayed out of that move. And if you didn't, you probably got forced out of that move. There's about a 70 pip fluctuation. US CAD, it's not really doing anything. Kind of sitting there. Looking for this. US CAD. Probably not that deep, but something like this. So, and then crude oil, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to watch, see if price wants to recapitalize this level down here. So, that's my thoughts, guys. Any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, jokes, epiphanies, anything that just came to you? Is this any value to you? Throw it up in the chat here. Give me some kind of feedback. Let me know what your thoughts are. Be curious to know. And if there's nothing else, I'm going to run. I'm going to post my signals up to our members area, and away we go. Just so you are also aware, if you go to f45trading.com, we are launching one-on-one coaching sessions. We'll sit down with new traders, novice traders, expert traders, and basically explain our ideas on a one-on-one basis if that is of interest to you. A lot of new traders really love it because they can get some of their stuff. Like I literally get traders that approach me and say, like, how do you even start trading? We walk them through right from the beginning, how to set up accounts, how to set up demo accounts, how to properly read a chart, how to analyze price, and on and on and on. And so there's some great value there. So if you're a beginning or aspiring trader and you'd want some more direct help one-on-one, then please, by all means, hit us up at f45trading.com and let us know, and we can customize a package that'll suit you. So that is my shameless sales pitch for the day, and I got a couple of inquiries coming in. It'd be interesting to see if overall trend direction changed for copper. Seasonal says higher. Yeah, exactly, Dave. And that was my analysis. I sat down on Friday and was looking at copper, and that is exactly right. So the seasonal bias is to the upside currently. There's a big push on the commercials. They've been changing their current hedging program, and they're all running long right now, or starting to shift to the long side anyway. Price is really starting to build up again, seasonally wise, and now technically wise on the chart. Right, we've come down, and price has. Let's see if I can just expand this without. Okay, there we go. Yeah, price came down and retested this consolidation level in here, just beautifully. Two little wicks in here, but and then we had that retest right there. So Monday, hopefully, you guys did a better job of getting in front of the charts on Monday than I did. Unfortunately, I had computer issues and I was in meetings all day long, and I couldn't get in front of the charts as much as I wanted to see this. And beautiful retouch right down in here. So I'm hoping we get a little bit more of a retrace in here, but there's plenty of time to get in. If we start breaking these highs in here, I mean, it's just all confirmation of the upside. But so far, we've got a lot of confirmations on copper that that look bullish right now. And so, you know, as long as we break through this red line here, I believe we're going to see much higher prices on copper. And like, price just failed to get above those highs right here, so and it came down and retested. I think we're going to come up and pop up. So basically, if we do get that, if we don't get an entry in on Tuesday down into here in equities open at 9:30 a.m. New York time, then I think we could. It'll present opportunities to get long later on. I'm not too worried about that. Like, price, right? Price isn't going to shoot straight up to here in one day. You know. If we don't get an entry back down here, then, you know, we'll get a pop up here, and then we'll get a retest, and then, you know, another you know, potential entry long somewhere in here, and then so there's lots of opportunity there. But yeah, Dave, that's I think it's I don't want to say it's a lock trade, but it's definitely a lot of confluences are aligning, and yeah, I think there's a very good. There's a lot of reasons to suggest that this price action has changed, and we could see some bullish direction occur. So, yeah, no, that's great. Thanks for offering that, Dave. So anyway, that's all I got to say, guys. I hope you have a great day trading on Tuesday. Remember, keep it light, reduce your risk. It is non-farm. Go easy on it. You don't have to go out and make $1 million this week. If you can, kudos to you, but you're also risking that on the downside. Just keep that in mind. So I would highly recommend you just keep it light, keep it in a demo, and you know, there's going to be lots of opportunities next week as well too. But anyway, that's all I got to say. Thanks very much for joining us, guys. I appreciate your time. And like I say, Dave will be back Wednesday. I'll be back. I'm going to actually jump on. I'm going to do a London Open about this time on Thursday, just to kind of see where all that cable stuff is going, because I think we're going to see a lot of movement on cable on Thursday, and I kind of just want to. I'm not going to trade cable, obviously, but we're going to see what price is going to do this week here, and then I'll probably pick out some levels that I think price is going to reach to on Thursday, and we'll see if it does it. And then, of course, Friday. I'm not doing anything with the charts on Friday. I'll probably be analyzing it. Dave will be in. He'll be doing a live session. But again, he'll just be calling out some levels and having a look. He won't be actually taking any trades himself. So anyway, hope you guys have a great Tuesday. We'll catch up to you on Wednesday. Take care.